What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the High Tempo Podcast, episode 195. Today, we are back to talk about sports like we always do. It's sports time.
It's the High Tempo Sports Podcast, baby.
Exactly. And we're back today for another weekly episode. Guess what today is? Starting today, there is football on every week until February, until the Super Bowl. Phenomenal.
There could be tears coming out of my eyes right now. It's how happy I am.
I'm pretty sure they do a week in between, like the Hall of Fame game and the week one of preseason. But I saw Barstool said that, so I'm like trusting them that there is some sort of football on next week. So I'm taking their word for it.
If not, we'll just go play outside or something. We'll find a way to
be football.
There will be football in our life.
The Hall of Fame game is going on right now. We're recording this on Thursday night. Jets versus Browns. Zach Wilson gets to show the world what he is because high chance he doesn't play this season unless Aaron Rodgers goes down, obviously. So that is going to be exciting. We were watching just a little bit of it, but once again, it's preseason. We don't need to get too in-depth about it. Let's talk about the Lions, though, because Lions training camp has been going on. You know, the headlines that come out of training camp are always going to be overreactions. You know, it's always going to be talk about this guy, that guy. Is this guy breaking out? Does this guy suck? All of that kind of stuff. The Lions training camp. Let's talk about the Jameson Williams stuff that's been going down. A couple days ago, he got injured about a week or so ago, returned, and it was reported that he got frustrated with undrafted free agent Starling Thomas, the fifth cornerback, who has been actually doing very well for the Lions. Apparently, he's been running first-team reps as an undrafted free agent, so that's awesome if he ends up being a good player for us and makes the roster. But Jameson Williams got frustrated after he broke up a pass and started a scuffle with him. It wasn't a punches thrown or anything like it was falsely reported. It was just a little shove here and there. And once again, we have media members calling out Jameson Williams for his lackluster attitude and that he's not built and he's not mentally prepared to play in the NFL.
Huh. That's crazy. They don't say that about Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? Yeah, so it's
That's just cool when he does it.
And he threw punches.
He was
punching.
punching.
Videos of it, yeah.
But like when he does it and shows that he cares, because at least he cares enough to get in a scuffle. It's a problem. He shouldn't care that much about preseason,
or he should be caring about football and not fighting.
Yeah. Such horseshit. It's all just.
I'm sick of it, man. Why do people want J-Mo to be bad? They want to pin him as this off the field issues guy, and it's just like, why? Why do we need to do that? Let the kid play a game.
And he's a kid. Like, he's a young guy. He's not old. Like, he's still learning the league. He's played like 6 games
and probably a full game total snaps wise. You know.
I do.
Yeah.
It just sucks because then you see the other side of it, and like Jameson Williams is a monster. You know, CJ Gardner-Johnson coming out and saying when Jameson Williams comes back, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. That's what CJ is saying. And then this shit comes out, and it's just like the negativity that you're putting forth, and that just makes it that much harder to perform. I hope he's good at blocking it all out, because that could weigh on you. I was listening to the Fantasy Footballers podcast. You listen to them?
No, but I know that podcast.
But they brought up the Deshaun Watson situation of like the whole world wants him to fail, and like that's got to be way harder to play like that for a lot of guys. So I feel like I'm not nervous because I hope JMO is like. I feel like he doesn't care. He just gives me that vibe that it doesn't bug him at all. He's just playing football his way, and I just hope that is the case. I hope it doesn't affect.
And I feel like the situation with the Lions and the kind of the minds that are in that part of the staff and everything, I feel like they probably do a pretty good job of, because anytime you ask the guys on the Lions about, you know, the media, what do they pay attention to and stuff, Harley's freaking out upstairs. Sorry if you heard her barking. But if you ask Lions staff members and players, they're all like, no, like we don't pay attention to none of that. Like we pay attention to the tape and we pay attention to each other, you know, like, so I think that's a good thing. Did you listen to Dan Campbell on Part of My Take?
Yeah. Talk about getting hype.
That was such a good interview.
That was the best episode of Part of My, and I listened to like every Part of My Take. I was so engaged in that because he is just awesome to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
He loves football, man. He loves it.
Man, yeah, you got to throw in the man.
He does
Exactly.
yeah.
And he once again repeated that the Lions, they asked him about the hype for this season, like with all this hype, like what are you going to be, what does that change for you guys? Like it doesn't change nothing. And he said exactly what Jared Goff said a few weeks ago, like we haven't done nothing. We went 9-8 last year and missed the playoffs. Like we haven't earned anything. So like we can't sit here and act like we're this automatic contender because we haven't done shit to get there yet.
Absolutely, and I love that mindset because Jared Goff's thoughts were that. I mean, obviously they're right. They're within the program. They understand that they literally haven't. This is just hype. That's all it is. If by the end of the year they're not a playoff team, all we dealt with all offseason was just hype, and it didn't actually mean anything. And that's a big deal to fans. That can really hurt a fan base. But this team just feels like they're poised and ready to now make that jump.
And every once in a while, I get scared about the expectations because I did see someone tweet today, like, a person that it was a guy that used to be a Lions fan and now isn't, but he isn't like a Lions hater. He just
Gotcha.
like left being a Lions fan because it caused him too much misery and all that, which is sure respect and everything.
No.
But he said like, is this going to be the year that like if the Lions go 6-11 and disappoint, like is this the year where people really like stop, like where Lions fans really like stop buying all in, And that gets me a little scared because like we have not had expectations like this ever in my life, so it's very weird. However, I'm never going to stop. I always know that can happen. I'm not just thinking just because we have expectations, we're meeting them. When do we ever meet them? Never.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still a little nervous for sure.
Oh, I'm definitely nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing so many Lions fans talk about we're and it's been different this year because we're really really supposed to be good. We showed to the promise last year, but every Lions fan's like, yeah, every year we're supposed to be good, and then we never are, and it's just the case of being a Lions
the year,
fan.
But like this actually is the year though. But what if it isn't? So
it's a terrifying thought.
But I think those thoughts go away when I hear Dan Campbell talk about this way, and it sounds like everyone in the locker room feels that way. Like, hey, we don't need to think like the media does. Like, we have not done nothing. And I'm not saying Brown says it every week. It's we're 0-0. We're trying to get that win. He says every year to him, like he's playing like he's a rookie right now. He hasn't earned nothing. I love that attitude from guys like that, and I'm super excited.
I mean, when your star player has that attitude, it feeds into everywhere, and everybody should have that attitude. If I'm here to prove something every single day. And I think Amon-Ra, he's like climbed up my ladder.
Dude, like he's got the craziest work ethic ever.
And did you see the rookie who was like, I've been trying to chase his like how hard he works, and I can't catch him.
No, I didn't. That's awesome.
He was a Lions rookie. He's like, I've been trying to work as hard as him, and I can't.
Really?
He's like, for a rookie to say that, do you know how hard you must be outworking everybody?
Because the rookie's already got to work harder than everybody.
And the rookie's already doesn't want to say that out loud. A rookie's,
that's a good point.
You don't want to go and tell your franchise, I can't work as hard as this guy.
I swear I'm trying.
But he is just a different monster. The clips that are coming out from him from training camp, he looks like the best receiver in the NFL. That's how elite he looks.
There's a world where he finishes as like a top 3 fantasy wide receiver this season. Like he actually could.
You're gonna make me draft him at the 3rd overall pick. Like you're gonna have me drafted him
He'll
there.
be gone by the 2nd round anyways. So like,
but there's no way he gets back to me.
No, there's
no
not,
way.
especially not in a league with Lions fans.
Yeah, not in our league.
More good Lions training camp news. Jahmyr Gibbs says he's been being used as a wide receiver more than he ever was at Alabama, which is really enticing. Obviously, with Jameson Williams being out for those 6 games, I'm excited to see how much Jahmyr Gibbs is used. Another guy where how high do I take him in fantasy? I don't like taking Lions players in fantasy. I've never been a fan of doing that because, I like rooting for the whole squad. I don't want to be like, oh, Amon-Ra didn't get that touchdown. It went to Brock Wright. I'm so mad. Like, no, I don't care who gets it as long as we score. But all that being said, Jahmyr Gibbs could be an absolute weapon in fantasy.
Well, and it's not like, a few years ago where we might not have a top guy. Like, we have multiple guys who will be top 20 finishers in fantasy this year. We should. And that's what makes it so difficult. It's like, well, I guess we have a great offense now. Like, I'd be silly not to pick Lions players. But the issue is in our leagues, we have to reach for Lions players.
Yeah, because it's full of Lions fans.
I have to take Jahmyr Gibbs in the 4th or the 3rd or 4th round.
Probably, yeah.
But I'm not getting him otherwise.
And And that's why the team league, just have the team league. Just take the Lions in the team league.
Facts.
There you go.
Facts.
Hopefully we do that again this year. Speaking of fantasy football, let's break the breaking news to everyone. I have
Yes.
officially joined Easton's fantasy league.
Yeah, mine is loose. It's not mine.
The league that Easton is
Yeah,
in.
the league that I
We
play.
talk about it a lot because me and Easton aren't in any fantasy football leagues together, any real ones. And I keep up with these guys' league because I'm friends with everybody that's in it, obviously. And it's a pretty high, intense league. But I always talk shit about it because I think it's a terrible league.
And now you're here.
And now I'm in it. So, and now I got to back it up.
And you
I'm
have to be a
super
part.
excited.
And the worst part is you have to be a part of everything that comes with it.
Oh, I know.
And it's that intensity. It's a fun league, and I'm so excited. When it was when we put on the chopping block, okay, we have room for a new guy. It was just like instantly. There was like 3 of us. Yeah, skunk. Just put it just signed, sealed, delivered.
I've been on the next up list for so long.
For 2
now in
years
this
since the
league,
start of the league.
So what happens if I come in and win this league year one?
It's not happening.
But what? No, I'm saying if it did happen, how are you? Is half the league gonna leave?
This is my first time thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because that's how confident. So if you win the league,
Y'all would
so
probably
you would
leave.
have to draft 3 of the top 5.
Okay, that's
players.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying what is the reactions?
I'm telling you one thing. I am pissed at our powerhouse teams, the teams that typically do well. I'm pissed at
Yo,
Ivan,
you mean the
and I'm
teams
mad
that you
at
guys
Seth.
feed to?
Typically, I've been one of them feeder teams. I think that's what Jack put me in as the in the draft lottery. It was Easton, aka feeder team. Because
exactly.
I always have the good players, and I just trade them away. Because why would you keep them? The one year I traded T. Higgins and somebody for Jets, and this was his breakout year. And I traded him before he could even break out. I traded him 2 weeks into the year, got rid of him for Antonio Gibson. Was that year?
Oh wow.
It was
okay.
bad luck.
The problem is with not just you, just several members in your league, is that you can't just make 1 or 2 trades at a time and let it play out for a week or two. You got to make 8 trades in the same week.
Dude, that's the way
I
we
just
do it.
traded for one guy. Let me trade him too, and then let me trade the guy that I just got back to another team. You got to look at it in the grand scheme of things. What did I originally trade away, and what did I end up with? When you do 12 trades like that, more than likely, it is going to be a lot worse than what you originally had.
But the issue is you get in the downward spiral where it's oh shit,
I made a bad trade.
This is bad. I need to fix this.
And then you think you fixed it, and you actually didn't. You made it worse.
Shoot, I just traded DK and Devontae Smith for Adam Thielen. Tyler Lockett. What am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why
and you got
I'm excited to be
David
in this league.
Njoku in the deal.
Yeah,
you got your tight end.
And I've never been a huge trade guy in fantasy. I trust my guys. I'm obviously going to make trades. Not I don't make any, but I've never been I will probably make less than 5 trades the whole season.
That's my goal this season because
Yeah.
every single year I screw myself over in the trades. I should just keep my team, but I can't. I don't have fun that way. I like to have new players on my roster.
Then I get that.
But I also hate losing.
Then-
I hate the way people talk to me when I'm losing. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
hate the
You're a
things,
loser.
The things people say when
Yeah.
you're losing.
It's
It
definitely
pisses me off.
depressing. Yeah, I see that. So super excited.
It's the best league.
So let's talk a little strategy.
Yeah.
We'll
Who
just
are you
hope none of
drafting 8th and
let's just
13th?
hope none of the fantasy members are listening here. Have you been doing mock drafts some?
I'm at least on 100.
So
actually.
what are you thinking? Are you a double wide receiver first 2 rounds guy, a double running back? We don't have close picks. I'm just talking about this from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, it's just
Are you,
hard. It's
wanting
hard
to
to
get
be
one
so
of each?
revealing.
I mean,
at
it
this
doesn't
point.
really matter.
No, at the end of the day, it
We're a
doesn't.
month away from the fantasy draft. So much can change.
Absolutely. Right now, I've been on the the double receiver in the first.
And Easton has the 3rd pick in the draft.
Yeah.
by the way.
So that means my draft is different. I don't look at it as doubles. I look at it as triples.
Well, yeah, because you have the turn at that's
I have
very
the
true,
turn
yeah.
right there. So I think
That's actually
I
very
have
true,
to leave with 2 RBs and a receiver. Or I have to leave with 2 of one and then 1 of the other.
Yeah,
every single
obviously.
time, and then the balance is what I'm looking for. The issue is sometimes when you take receiver, you go receiver, so you go 1. Let's just say Jamar Chase because he's there, Cooper Kupp, and then 2nd round you go Jalen Waddle, and 3rd round Chris Olave might be the running backs. It's not Damian Pierce. It's Ramondre Stevenson, a couple of
Travis
those guys.
Etienne.
And I'm much more of like a Olave guy at that
Right.
point. I don't know if I
So
love
then it's
those
like,
guys.
do you take running back earlier so you can get those wide receivers later? You know, it's a
And
tough
that's
spot.
definitely a thought I've like. It's like the best case scenario when those running backs sit there and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just take a running back and just do 2 receivers. But I love having that elite wide receiver. But Cooper Kupp getting hurt kind of knocks a guy out of that. I mean, I'm kind of only debating between 2 receivers
Right.
at that pick, and it's Tyreek Hill and Jamar.
Yeah.
Are the only 2 receivers I'm thinking there. And then the 2 running backs, you only have the option of Christian McCaffrey and
or Eckler, obviously, whichever one falls to you. Yeah.
And one of them does, but
Have you considered? I know you are a lover of Travis Kelce. I know you
Yeah.
traded away quite a lot to get him last year. Have you considered the world of taking him third?
yeah, for
Like
sure.
it's obviously very, very high to
For
take
sure.
him.
I've done enough mock drafts where I've kind of done it all other than like
To
a
just
quarterback.
test it out, yeah.
And when you do Travis Kelce, the results aren't bad.
Yeah, I did one
It's-
today where I got him at 8, and I don't think he's gonna be there at 8 anyways. But I just did one today to test it out, and I didn't really mind the squad.
Dude,
honestly.
our league draft's funny though. Like it's a
Well,
very
it's
like
not gonna be anything like the mock draft.
that's what
yeah.
sucks so bad. You can do as many mocks as you want, but then you realize that not everybody's doing those mocks. Not everybody's
No.
with me. Like, and I'm not even gonna name names, but just guys aren't doing it, and that's okay.
And the rankings don't matter either. Like, there's guys that people want, and they're just gonna draft them when they think
Facts.
they want them. Yeah.
Facts.
Okay, quickly, give me one late round sleeper that you're loving right now. Can be wide receiver, running back, even QB. If you've been putting off taking a QB, like, who's a late round sleeper that you are like, I've been taking him every time in a mock draft, essentially.
I mean, I take Hollywood. I mean, he's not even a sleeper because he's like the 5th round, but Hollywood Brown,
That's
I'm
a good one.
consistently taking. And then later, it's just those rookie receivers. Any of them. You go
Yeah,
get
like Zay Flowers.
Zay
a lot.
Flowers, go get Jordan Addison, and go get Jackson Smith and Jigba. One of those 3 is going to be a top 12 receiver this year.
Probably.
Like, it just always, there's a rookie receiver every single year. I guess maybe Jalen Hyatt, maybe if you believe he's
True, yeah.
that
you never
rookie
know.
receiver.
He might not even get drafted. Like, you know, he could be an undrafted guy, too.
It's
so.
just so crazy. Like I'm a big fan of taking a lot of late rookie receivers or young first or second year. Ayuk is great at the spot he's
I
at.
like Ayuk
It's
a
just
lot,
such a
too.
tough offense to get touches in.
But he
there's
did
so much talent.
He scored a lot of touchdowns last year, so
Yeah. Who's a couple guys you like later on?
I was trying to go through them. Like Zay Flowers was gonna be the one that I like immediately said. Like I really do like Zay Flowers. Not gonna lie, I don't mind taking Jameson Williams later and
Oh, me
stashing
too.
him for the 6 games. You know, it sucks having a suspended guy, but like if he wasn't suspended, he probably would get picked a lot.
If I
higher.
don't have a Lion through those, if I don't have Amon Ra
Uh-huh.
or Jameer Gibbs, there's a typical chance I'm taking JMO in the late rounds.
If I put off taking a tight end, I like David Njoku late. I think that he could be pretty good this season with the full Deshaun season. There was a running back that I had in mind. Devin Achane from the Miami Dolphins. I don't mind taking him late. Khalil Herbert is a late round guy as well. Just some names. You
Even
know.
if you're, I mean, we've named a bunch of Lions now, but David Montgomery, they've come out and said multiple times, this isn't a one running back show. We're gonna have a 2-headed monster back
today
there.
they said something about it too. Actually,
And I mean, we saw it happen last year. We had 2 fantasy eligible players when they were healthy at the start of the year, between DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Both were fantasy starters when they were both at the start of the
basically
year.
every week they were.
Yeah.
If they were playing, you started them.
Absolutely, and the offense is that good last
Mm-hmm.
year, and so if you're hoping and banking on it, the Lions actually doing their jump that
Yeah.
they're supposed to make, then it's a great pick.
The big sleeper is Kadarius Toney, but it's like everyone knows he's a sleeper. So how much of a sleeper is he?
I don't even believe in him.
Really, you don't? Okay, why? Is
I'm a
that?
believer in Sky Moore more
Okay,
than I'm a
okay.
believer
I
in.
respect that.
I believe in that offense. He hasn't ever this weapon that he is, this unreal weapon. Every team's had him and says that, and it never works out. The Giants get him and they're like, this guy is a freak. Like he is a unreal weapon. We're gonna use his speed all the time. They didn't. Then
Yeah,
the
he had like
Chiefs,
one game where he went really crazy with the Giants, and then obviously he ended up being traded.
where else did he go? He was with
Just
another
Giants
team.
and Chiefs.
Oh, but
Yeah.
then he got to the Chiefs, and they did the same shit.
He had a couple touchdowns and stuff. Like he's definitely a good red zone threat for sure, especially with Travis Kelce being there.
Yeah, I guess part of the issue is we play in a 10-man too.
Right.
It is different if you're in a 12-man.
And most of my leagues are 12 men.
Yeah.
So they're definitely harder than
For sure.
You have to reach deeper into the bag than a 10 man.
But again, I think a lot of people have forgotten about Sky Moore, and I like Sky Moore in those late rounds. Second-year wide receiver. Why not? A lot of them have a big jump. I mean, everybody believes in Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Obviously, their numbers were incredible last season. But I mean, Sky Moore, second year, a lot
Shout
more.
out Western Michigan. That's where he's from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's cool.
All right, so while we're on football talk, why don't we get into it? Get into our list, our football list for today. Instead of doing the top 10 wide receivers, which maybe we'll do at some point, that list is just so hard because there are so many good receivers. Let's do the top 10 wide receiver duos in the NFL. This is still a tough list for sure because it's hard to rank because how good is the first guy on the second guy? Are they both the same? A guy like Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league, but his duo is a rookie, so it's like, well, how does that work? I didn't write any honorable mentions down. I don't know if you did.
I didn't. I could probably no.
I could definitely like think of a few, but I mean,
once you get to the end of the list, it's not very like great. Like you're not like, man, this is a great duo.
Yeah, it
you
definitely is.
I guess
falls
Cooper
off a
Kupp
little bit.
and whoever else.
Yeah,
would be an honorable
Van
mention
Jefferson,
for me.
like he didn't make my list. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison did not make my list.
Oh, they're on my list.
I just didn't want to put a rookie on the list.
I did. I guess I didn't put the rookie.
Oh, okay. You put KJ Osborne.
I just put Jets.
Jets and blank.
I said Jets and
That's
whoever.
fair. That's fair. Okay, I guess let's hop into it then. Number 10.
My number 10 is CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. New wide receiver weapons.
Hey.
The thing that I like about them is they're both just like catch whores. Like they love catching the football and they get a ton of catches. I'm excited to see them. The training camp videos of Cooks look awesome on a better system than he's been in a long time. So I mean, it's exciting, but I don't know what it's going to look like because I think they're very similar wide receivers, and sometimes that works. But those two aren't like the craziest of athletes. They're just great receivers.
Brandon Cooks is another guy that I like in fantasy
For sure.
too. My number 10 is Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. This is a duo that over the past several years has been like a top wide receiver duo in the NFL. Just aging a little bit, obviously mainly with Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is still pretty young. But Keenan Allen has dealt with injury the last several seasons. Mike Williams is a very inconsistent wide receiver, definitely one of the better deep threat wide receivers in the entire NFL, though can go make a big 60-yard play at any given time. But as a duo, this is still a very good one. But honestly, by next year, this might not be the duo of the Chargers. Quentin Johnson might put himself in that spot if Keenan Allen is gone or if Mike Williams is gone, honestly.
Yeah, my number 9 is Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and I totally agree. The one thing I do like a positive about this that I had when we're CD and Cooks, I love the duality of them. Keenan Allen is incredible in the middle of the field. He's a great 7-yard hook route, and he's going to make the play every time. Mike Williams is take the top off the defense type guy. If you were to put a picture of boomer bust in fantasy, it's Mike Williams and it's Tyler Lockett. Like those are like the prime boomer bust. If you have them, you better keep them for 5 weeks because 2 of those weeks they're going to win you the week.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of what you do with those guys. But yeah, I worry as the age approaches these two what happens, and I really do love Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
I love him.
I have owned one of these two in fantasy. I think every single year I've played fantasy. I've had Mike Williams the last 3 years in fantasy. In several leagues, he's on my dynasty team, and I had him in my ESPN league the last 2 years. And then my family league, I always got Keenan Allen. Every year, I loved having Keenan Allen. So I'm very familiar with watching these two guys play, and it sucks to see Keenan Allen age a little bit because he's been one of the more consistent receivers of this era.
With a very unique play style too. Not a lot of guys do what he does. It's so graceful when he does it. And he never gets hit, and it's hilarious.
It is. My number 9 is a new duo. Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk are my number 9.
That's a good one.
Didn't want to put these guys too high because they haven't played together yet. And last year was Christian Kirk's first season of really being this like stud wide receiver. Calvin Ridley obviously hasn't played in a year. So even though in training camp he's like phenomenal, can't really judge him yet because he hasn't played in a year. But when he did play, he was an absolute dog. One of the better all-around wide receivers in the NFL. Great route runner. And Christian Kirk really was such a target machine last year. Got himself open an absurd amount. Can get down the field. I think this duo, if we were in like week 4, I could see this being a top 5 wide receiver duo. It's just I haven't seen them on the same team yet. So it's hard for me to put them too high. But they're my number 9.
Yeah, you talk about 2 guys that you'd love to have in fantasy. Both guys, maybe Calvin Ridley's, you're paying a high price for him, but Christian Kirk, you were paying a low price for that guy.
Quite low, yeah.
He's going way lower than he needs to.
Is that a guy? Is that a sleeper guy? For
Absolutely.
You? Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I
Why
think, why wouldn't it be for everybody?
Yeah.
taking Christian Kirk over Lockett.
Because think about it, even Zay Jones, like towards the back half of the year last year, was like a fantasy starter relevant, and now you have Christian Kirk in that role, where he's still obviously it's not like Trevor Lawrence is just going to forget about him now that Calvin Ridley's there. Like he might be better. He might have better numbers than Ridley this year
For sure. He
very
easily
good chance.
could.
Yeah.
An extra year with T-Law. I actually didn't have them on my list, and I wish I would have because those guys belong on this list. My number 8 is the Jets and whoever. KJ Osborne, Jordan Addison. I mean, TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah. Well, no.
It doesn't count because we'd have to do a lot of changing.
I honestly don't. I don't know another receiver other than those two.
Me either.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter at the end of the day because Jets will have more yards than a couple of these duos have. Like, that's how good Jets is. I'm so excited. I wish there was an opportunity for Jets to go to 3. Like, you know how crazy my life would be
it won't.
if I had Jets.
It's not going to happen.
It's
like, there's a
impossible.
chance he falls at 2 if you just don't want
Who
to
has
take
1
a-
and 2? It's Cade and Hayden. Cade's taking Jets.
But
first
like,
overall.
even if Cade wanted to take a running back, like just if he didn't take like the wide receiver strat, if Hayden's taking Jets at 2,
For sure.
so
Yeah.
it's like there's no world, but you
That
can always
sucks.
trade for him.
No.
no trades. I didn't include Jets and blank because I just wanted to go off the actual like duo thing, but I completely understand including him. My number 8 is Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. This is a duo that once again over the past 5 or so years in the NFL has been one of the more dominant duos, top of the list. Age is catching up, and also Tom Brady's gone, and I'm doing a little like projecting here. Is Baker Mayfield going to keep these two like relevant? Like because this offense probably is going to take a hit. This offensive line took a little bit of a hit. They lost Leonard Fournette. That's not that big of a deal.
Shoot.
Their defense definitely took a hit. Like this Bucs team could still be solid, but it's led by Baker Mayfield. Not saying Baker Mayfield is the worst quarterback in the NFL, but he's closer to the worst than he is the best. So with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin being his weapons, definitely could set him up for success because they are one of the better duos in the NFL. Like I said, another duality type of duo here. I mean, Mike Evans is the throw it up to him, he's going to come down with it, touchdown machine, where Chris Godwin is that kind of guy all over the place that you're going to be able to find him when you're desperate. He's going to be there in 10 yards away every time. Very good duo. They're my number 8.
Yeah, my number 7 is Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. All the same reasons you have. I'm in the same boat. I worry about both these guys' fantasy relevancy this year. With A, Mike Evans' lack of touchdowns, and B, I don't know, man. They just didn't even. Mike Evans won fantasy leagues last year in that last week, but like Chris Godwin coming back from that injury never looked great. Like
Right.
He didn't ever look
True.
awesome.
Definitely looked like he'd lost some steps a little bit.
There's somebody that I might have been able to drop them off the list, low key.
Really? From 8 to off, or from 7 to off the list?
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right.
Like wouldn't everyone else just
Yeah,
drop
you're right.
one?
You're right. Facts.
My number 7 is Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. This is a fun little duo here because like Deebo Samuel, is he even a wide receiver? I don't know. He's a little bit of both. Brandon Ayuk, though, we were just talking about him. I love Brandon Ayuk's game. So fast. One of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. And Deebo Samuel's threat, like just him being able to do everything, for sure adds another element to this San Francisco offense. And then you just happen to have George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey as well. This might be one of the lower volume duos on this list as far as what they're going to do this season. Excited to see Deebo healthy with McCaffrey for a full year because he said he wants to get back to where he was 2 seasons ago. But they're my number 7.
My number 6 is DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. These are two guys that I think are both great fantasy options. I'm talking a lot of fantasy. Fantasy's up. Both great fantasy options, I think, this year. DK will have more touchdowns than he did last year. I think Tyler Lockett's smooth, but I do agree. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is scary as a backup. But this is a duo that's been doing it for 2 years now and really solid, and they're really good at both being effective at all times. Even with Kenneth Walker being the great runner he was last year,
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett and DK were both still so good.
My number 6 is CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. I have them a lot higher than you did. Brandon Cooks is kind of in a weird category where he has been a wide receiver 1 on like 5 different teams, and not many guys do that. Like that are like good wide receivers and just hop around as much as he did. I mean, he went Saints, Patriots, Rams, Texans, and now he's on the boys. I mean, that is pretty unreal. He joined CeeDee Lamb now. Obviously, Michael Gallup is still there, so a little bit of a crowded room. But I think that Brandon Cooks is still one of the more underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Like you said, he's an absolute target machine, gets himself open like no other. And we don't need to talk about CeeDee Lamb. I mean, we know how good CeeDee Lamb is and how good him and Dak have that connection. So I'm really excited to see. I hate saying that because I don't like the Cowboys, but I like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks a lot. I'm fans of both of their games, so they're my number 6.
I like Dak. It just all sucks.
I like Dak too.
It just all sucks. It's the 3 most I've ever liked
boys,
Lions
though.
or
like
Cowboys
Tony
players.
Pollard. He's pretty cool, and like Zeke is gone. Like didn't like Zeke.
Like I like drafting Tony Pollard.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He's like right in your range.
He's right
too.
in that second or third round range.
Are you comfortable if Tony Pollard is your RB1?
Yeah, I am.
Kind of have to be.
But if I'm taking Tony Pollard, like, thing is, I always like to back up Tony Pollard with another running back, like, right away. It's
like get a strong RB2. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
There's been a couple times where in mocks, that's the thing. I don't know who falls out of the top 15 because somebody always falls to that. My second pick, it is always there is Devontae Adams, Derrick Henry, or Amon-Ra St. Brown. One of those 3 will be, or Garrett Wilson.
Have you done the math? Like to see if one of them will fall.
I think one of them has to though. So I'll check. I'll check
one
like
of
the
them
top
definitely
19.
has to fall. Yeah.
So I get that monster second round player, and then it's my complimentary. I usually like to take the boom player in my third round.
I really do like the spot you're in. Like
I do too.
It's like one of the better spots in the draft. But the top 3 picks in general, just because of the guys that you get on the way back, are still so good.
So good. And then then you get the turn. Like that third round, start of the third round, those first 32 picks are all good, like really, really, really good fantasy players. It's not until you get to like the 40 range, which is when we don't get a pick for a while.
And that's when it's slim pickings.
And it's like whatever you want.
I hate taking dudes there.
Because it's so dependent on what you like at that spot in the draft.
And also what you need.
A lot of fantasy talk.
Yeah.
Is it my?
It is. Are we in the top 5?
Yeah. I haven't said my number 5.
We're in the top 5.
My number 5 is Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Like you said, low volume, but you want to talk about weapons. These guys are 2 of the best in the NFL. And when you get them the ball, they will make big plays with it. And that's something that has to be put into effect when we think about these wide receiver duos. This is a great offense. They have multiple ways to score the ball. They don't need to feed one player like some of these other teams do.
Right.
Like we see these juice receiver numbers. Well, sometimes it's because they don't really have any other option. What are the Bills going to do? Run the ball? With who? No, they're going to pass it to Diggs and Gabe Davis every single time. That doesn't happen in San Francisco. They use Deebo and Ayuk as weapons. When they want them to go, we need a big play, here you guys go. This is your time. It's an awesome offense to watch. Scary fantasy offense to be a part of.
Scary team for the Lions to have to face in the playoffs potentially as well.
For sure.
Very
definitely.
scary team. My number 5 is DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. This is another one that's just been a really good duo over the past several years. We talked about Tyler Lockett last episode. I've never this is just strictly fantasy. I've never had him in fantasy because I've never trusted him. Don't know why, because he usually is pretty consistent. But yeah, this is a duo that, like you said, maybe after this year won't exist as the, Jack, I mean, not won't exist, but won't be the top duo on the Seahawks as JSN may be, and he might be by week 5. But right now, I mean, Tyler Lockett is still such a consistent wide receiver in this NFL, and we know what DK Metcalf is. I mean, he's dropped the drops problem. He really does it all. He's a beast out there. He killed the Lions this past season when we played them. I mean, it was... And that was right after he talked the shit about Jeff Okudah, too, the week before, saying that he ain't no top corner. And then he went crazy against us. Oh, that sucked. But yeah, this is a very good duo in my number 5.
He can't bench as much as Aaron Donald.
I wouldn't think so.
I didn't know if you've ever seen that clip.
Why? Like when they're together on PMT, yeah.
That was a joke about how that clip. You see it 10 times
You're right,
a year.
Yeah.
I've seen that clip a million times.
I
know Aaron Donald
because he benches 500 or whatever.
And
yeah, like
DK's is huge eyes. My number 4 is Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, the Bills duo, and it's strictly they're here because they are so elite in that pass game. And again, this is another duo where it's like these both guys do totally different things on the field very effectively. Diggs, again, is to me, he's the best route runner in the NFL. I think he is. And then Gabe Davis is one of the best deep ball receivers in the league. Gabe Davis's numbers aren't as good. It's one of those situations where Stephon Diggs is that good that he carries the duo.
Yeah, my number 4 is also Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. like you said, Gabe Davis is probably the worst wide receiver out of this like top 4 duos left. Doesn't mean he's not any good. Like you said, he is an elite deep ball threat, and I think that complements Diggs so well. Because not saying Diggs isn't a deep ball guy, but he really isn't. You know, he's probably a 20 yards max. Like, he needs to be there for Allen to go to, because Allen's doing some crazy shit in that backfield. He needs to sling it out of there to Diggs. But when Gabe Davis gets an opportunity, I mean, he's a guy that can explode for a 3 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns type game any week. He also can have 1 catch for 8 yards, and that's his week, you know? So I was surprised that they weren't more like trying to go get DeAndre Hopkins. I know that they have some money tied up and everything. But this duo, like you said, is a very good. They complement each other very, very well.
Yawn. Tired. Late night cast. If you didn't know, Thursday night. It's
every night or every week.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Ugh. My number 3 is A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. What an incredible duo that I didn't expect to just explode the way they did last season. When A.J. Brown went to the Eagles, and I was like, like, you know, because that was the whole, and I know Eagles weren't trading up in the draft.
Oh, because of the JMO
thing. Situation.
Yeah, that's right.
But like that wasn't, the Eagles just traded for it. They won the whole thing. They won that whole bonanza.
They tried to get JMO, didn't, so like, screw it, let's go get A.J. Brown.
Is that how it happened?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, I thought it was the other way. I thought the Titans jumped.
They traded up to 13 to get, or no, you're right. No,
I thought the Titans traded to 13.
No, it was Eagles. Gotcha. Because they traded up to 13, and were like, once they found out that 11 was going to be, I forget. I can't remember, but they found out that he wasn't getting picked at 11. They're like, trade up to 13. Because they found out that whoever was at 12, Minnesota, wasn't going to take Jameson Williams. Yep. It's like, okay, we're going to trade 13 and get him. And then the Lions swooped in at 12 and got him. And then they were like, what the hell? So they picked Jordan Davis, and then they just trade for AJ Brown.
Literally the movie Draft Day. That is like essentially Draft Day. Crazy buzzer beater trade.
And they also signed him to a huge extension the same night. They traded for him and then gave him the bag.
Yes, for sure. Maybe they had that as like a backup plan the whole time.
They probably did.
And what a blessing in disguise that whole situation was, because A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith complement each other so well. Complementary is designed for these two. A.J. Brown is a beast. Like, actual monster. He's one of the most athletic guys on the football field at all times. And Devontae Smith is so freaking fast. He is blitzing speed out there. He is up and down the field faster than you can blink, it feels like. Next to Jalen Hurts, these guys look like they're going to be a problem for years and years to come. As long as they're together, these 3 are going to be tough to beat.
And once again, they're playing in the NFC, which is just... Man, it's so tough. And this duo torched us in week 1 last season, too. My number 3 is A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Phenomenal duo. At this point, it's like Devontae Smith is the locked-in 3rd best wide receiver, 2 in the NFL. And, like, that's not like saying he can't move up, because the other 2 guys obviously are, like, right there, and he could.
I would
take
disagree
that
with you.
You think he's better than one of the other 2?
Yeah, I think he's better than T. Higgins.
Really, you do?
I'm taking Devontae Smith.
You were like
over
the biggest, like, T. Higgins is the best wide receiver 2 in the NFL guy.
I don't believe it anymore. I'm one year
What made
removed
you switch?
The lethality of
Okay, that's enough. That's too big of words. But yeah, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, my number 3. Basically everything that you said as well. This is where it gets interesting though, because I think it's this is a debate on what the better duo is. I feel like
for sure.
Based on what you just said, I think it's pretty obvious who your number 2 and 1.
Yeah, my number 2 is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. My number 1, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Now, let's do my T. Higgins thing.
Okay.
T. Higgins is great. T. Higgins is not the weapon that Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are. He's not the freak that those 2 really are athletically. And that's where I feel like he's a great route runner. He can go up and get balls. He kind of does it all.
He really is a good all-around one.
He does it all for that Bengals team. When Jamar's out, talk about a guy that can step in and be your wide receiver 1 right away. Whatever you need him to do, you want him to run a deep post or you want him to run a short flat route, he'll do it both. And I like that. But in that wide receiver 2, I would much rather you be incredible at one thing than great at all of them as a wide receiver 2. I think you're easier to utilize if you're just great at that one thing. Maybe not easier to utilize, but more advantageous to utilize these guys. And that's where I like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle more as wide receiver twos. But Jamar Chase, jeez, that guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Like, he is, you want to talk about all around? He's a beast at every part of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he is so, like, I guess it's kind of flipped, though, right? Because he's the blitzing receiver. He's the crazy pass receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, I guess he is. Like, he's obviously not on, like, Waddle and Tyreek level, but, like,
He's definitely dumb
he does
fast.
it all, though. Yeah. I mean, he's not bad at anything. Like, route running, speed, deep ball. Like, he's got it all.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are the most electric. I mean, they produce the most electric football games you will ever watch. You want to be entertained this year? Go turn on a Dolphins game.
Even last year.
Just they didn't even matter who's at QB. You just go watch them, and they are incredible when they catch the ball. Unreal. My nose itches so bad.
My number 2 is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and number 1 is Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. The fastest duo in the NFL gets the nod. I mean, like, you can't describe how well that these two, like, you as a defense, how do you plan for that kind of speed? Because Jalen Waddle does it at a different level than Tyreek Hill does. Tyreek Hill, I mean, not really, though. They both do it.
They both kind of do it
Tyreek
each
will catch the
other's
ball
way.
5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and he'll just take off. And Waddle kind of does the same thing, but Tyreek Hill, I feel like, is definitely more of the, like, I'm just going to run 40 yards straight, and I'm going to outrun you and throw me the ball. Whereas Waddle kind of just does it in his routes. His bursts are obviously insane. So is Tyreek, though, too. But the speed combination of these two gives them the edge at number 1. These are two very different duos. I think Jamar and T. Higgins are also very similar receivers as well in a different way than Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are. Excited to see what happens with T. Higgins this year because he was going into the last year of his deal. He did not get an extension this offseason, so I know there was talks about him getting traded this offseason because of that. Really interesting to see what happens with T. Higgins this offseason, but that's my number 2 and 1. Okay, let's talk about basketball because there's not a lot to talk about with basketball, obviously. Last week we did our top 10 power forwards list. So we are finally at the end of our position rankings with top 10 centers. Top 10 centers is pretty hard.
There's a lot of guys, like, and the center position is so young. Like, it's so much based off, and a lot of the numbers are similar.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much more based off when you're watching these guys in the eye test. And again, it is a young list.
I wrote down 17 names when I was going through teams. I was like, guys that like probably should deserve to get the nod. I wrote down 17 dudes. That's a lot.
I wrote down 17 or 18 as well.
Yeah.
But I only have 5 honorable mentions.
And obviously, I actually also had 5. I had to cut 2 dudes from the honorable mentions list, which is pretty crazy. Before we do that, I actually forgot about a little thing I want to do and talk about the MLB trade deadline. Quick briefing. Because the Tigers had a very dramatic MLB trade deadline. It was obviously very rumored that both Michael Lorenzen and Eduardo Rodriguez would be traded. Michael Lorenzen was dealt to the Philadelphia Phillies for a second baseman prospect. He was a part of the international draft a few years ago. He's an Asian player. I think he's from. I don't want to get it wrong, but I think he's from Japan.
It's the infielder. Right?
Infielder. So that was, it's cool. I wanted to maybe get a player that's maybe more ready to play, but it was for an expiring Michael Lorenzen, so it's whatever. But the Eduardo Rodriguez was like, maybe we can bring in like a true, like, crazy good young prospect, a top 100 prospect, because the pitching market was hot. Like, a lot of top pitchers got traded, and there was more teams out there that needed more pitching. Eduardo Rodriguez had this weird clause in his contract that when he signed with Detroit, a 10-team no-trade list. 10 teams he will not be traded to. And the Tigers were aware of the teams that were on this list. There was talks all week about the Dodgers wanting to go get Eduardo Rodriguez. They have a very good farm system. About like 20 minutes before the trade deadline, it comes out from Jeff Passan, who's the main ESPN reporter, said that the Dodgers and Tigers had agreed to a deal, but Eduardo Rodriguez had the Dodgers on his 10-team no-trade list, so the deal is dead. The Dodgers don't want to do anything else, and the Tigers have no other team to trade Eduardo Rodriguez to. So Eduardo Rodriguez stays on the Tigers because they tried to trade him to a team that they knew he would not want to go to, essentially.
I wonder why. Like, what makes that 10-team no-trade list what it is?
So, what it sounds like is Eduardo Rodriguez's family, it lives in Miami, and he doesn't want to go to the West Coast because it's too far from family. which makes sense, obviously. And I believe he's from the Dominican Republic. He's from one of the Central American countries originally, obviously, but now his family lives in Miami. So it's just tough because what happened was the Tigers knew that he was on that list, but they had believed that he would waive it because he would want to go play for the Dodgers because they're a contender. It's Los Angeles, Is
he on an expiring deal?
He's on a weird expiring deal where he has 2 years left after this, but he has an opt-out for this season.
Gotcha.
So and he most likely will opt out because he's going to make a lot more money because he's having a really good season.
So at that point, why not go play a half season for a contender? Right?
He said I don't know.
But do you feel that same way? Like
I mean, if I'm in his shoes, yes,
spot.
but also I'm not in his shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot different. I'm from America, and it's a lot different. So,
good point.
But yeah, from just a baseball standpoint, you would definitely think like, wow, you're on the Tigers, or you can go play for the Dodgers and be like maybe their ace on a World Series run. Like you would think that would be the move for Erod. But he said he wants to pitch in Detroit for a long time. So if the Tigers, now that you didn't trade Erod away, which I think most fans wanted you to do because he was very coveted at the deadline and you might lose him for nothing, you need to re-sign him. You need to re-sign him because if you lose him after this whole thing that went down and he said, I want to pitch in Detroit for a long time, that's going to be terrible. I'm going to be very upset as a Tigers fan. So that's basically it for my little Tigers rant there. Any thoughts?
Nothing bad.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to hop into our top 10 centers list?
Yes, we are.
All right. Let's do it. Top 10 centers in the NBA. This finishes off our positional rankings, and we can finally do our top whatever players in the NBA, maybe 25 probably. Who are your honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions are as follows. I actually have 6. I apologize.
Ooh.
Nick Claxton, Walker Kessler, Brook Lopez, Nikola Vucevic, Wendell Carter Jr., and Victor Wembanyama.
We are going to have very different lists. This
awesome.
is going to be quite a different list.
That's awesome. You have multiple of those
I did not
guys.
include Victor Wembanyama as a rookie. He will be on here.
I would have put him
next
top
season.
10 if he wouldn't have been a rookie. I would have just put him right there. But I was like,
obviously, I mean, if he wasn't a rookie, that means he was probably a second-year player, and he probably deserved to be top 10. Yeah,
you might be right. That might have been a misstep.
My honorable mentions are DeAndre Ayton, Nikola Vucevic, Nicholas Claxton, Clint Capella, and Robert Williams III. Those are my 5 honorable mentions. Wendell Carter Jr. got cut from the honorable mentions list. He was on the honorable mentions list, and I cut him from it. And who was the other guy that was... Valanciunas was originally going to be an honorable mention, and I cut him from the honorable mentions list.
I don't think our list will be that different. You only had one guy there that I...
Something's going to be different,
right.
I guess, is what I'm saying. Like,
yep.
And
I'm excited.
You'll understand. This is a hard list, though. This is a very, very tough list. A lot better than this could be the second best position
for sure.
PGs.
For sure.
Shooting guards or centers, I would say, is probably second. I don't know. Power forwards was pretty good, too. I don't know. This is probably second, though. Number 10.
My number 10 is DeAndre Ayton. If you would have told me 3 years ago that he would be number 10 on this list, I would tell you, what? He's not 5?
After
he's not 4?
Run? Yeah.
That guy was a monster. It's really actually sucks to see DeAndre here. He's averaged 18 and 10 last year. He's still good. He's just not who we thought he might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have much to say about him because he didn't make my list. I would have put Nick Claxton on the list over him, if I'm being honest.
That was right there. That's 10 and 11.
Yeah. My number 10 is Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert being at number 10 is wild. But I just really thought about it in a this kind of standpoint. If I was making a team, and the center, it might be the second most important part of your team. I think your lead ball handler, whether that is your guard or your forward or whatever, is number 1. I think your center is probably second because they can really control either your offense or your defense or maybe both. But I was just going from would I rather have these guys or Rudy Gobert? And it's I would rather have these guys. Rudy Gobert still has to make the list because he still is an all-defensive. He didn't make an all-defensive team this year. He still has deep-point potential for sure. Mm-hmm. The situation is weird, obviously, in Minnesota with Karl Anthony Towns being there. But Rudy Gobert is there to stay. He's not leaving Minnesota anytime soon because they gave up the bag for him, and he's not going to go for the bag. So they have to have him on their team. And he's an advanced stats guy. The advanced stats love him. He's an elite rim protector for sure. And he made his first 3-pointer ever in a game today over in Eurobasket.
Really? That's
Yeah.
actually crazy
and
interesting.
he actually had a real quote that said, "It felt like I lost my virginity."
What?
That's what he said. That was real.
That's hilarious.
Rudy Gobert.
You
beat-
like clicked on the tweet and like you
oh
had
yeah,
to
like
double check.
it was from a real page, and it was multiple. Yeah, like
That's funny.
Rudy Gobert would just be staying out of pocket, like
Remember
the rubbing the mics.
I can't.
Why did he have to do that?
I can barely talk about that moment. I can barely talk.
Why
about
did he have?
that.
The funny thing is, like, it would have happened either way, but like, I just love that we blame him for it.
That was the start though. That was literally the
And then he
bombshell.
got it, yeah.
That was like the oh shit. Here's what can happen if
Bro, when
you're
he
being
got
careless.
COVID, there wasn't one dude in the league that would have been worse to get COVID than him, just because he had just done that shit with the.
Oh,
microphone.
COVID! What is this?
Unless like LeBron got COVID, just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like I would have freaked out and thought he was gonna die. But like, no, I'm sorry, I shouldn't joke about that.
No,
but
no,
like,
no.
but the fact that Rudy Gobert got it and like right after rubbing the mics and making fun of it is like
he was the
that
domino.
is crazy.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like the butterfly effect.
It
Like
really
that
was.
started the COVID. Like
He started COVID.
no, that was the start of the COVID
He was
like
the first
frenzy.
person to ever get COVID.
Dude, you are twisting everything.
All right,
I can't wait to talk about Rudy
You're
Gobert.
number 9.
My number 9 is Jarrett Allen. To me, he's like low key budget Rudy Gobert. To me, that's
Sure.
what he is. And it's just like Rudy Gobert if he was a little bit worse and in a lot better situation. That's Jarrett Allen to me. But I do really like Jarrett Allen at 14-10, one of the best defensive centers in the league. Jump with anybody. It's one of the coolest parts about him and that damn fro. How cool is that shit?
It really is. My number 9 is Miles Turner of the Indiana Pacers. Really love Miles Turner's game. I mean, he's one of the better. Like, if you need a guy to, like, if you were building a 2K center,
Oh,
like, it's
yes,
him. You
it's
know, it's
him.
I stretch the floor and shoot threes, and I block the hell out of shots. Like, how could you pick a guy better than that?
For sure.
Miles Turner was in trade talks for so long with the Pacers, and finally they just, like, gave him the bag, and it was like, yeah, why would you trade him? Like, he is an ideal center for you. He was always the guy that, like, if he ended up on the Warriors, it's over.
It's game
You know,
over.
because that was always the talk about, like, Kuminga and Moody for Miles Turner. Like, don't do that, please.
You would end. That would be Kevin. That's Kevin Durant going to the Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Domantas Sabonis and him and Miles Turner splitting up really was beneficial for the both of them.
For sure.
In the long run. Obviously, at the time, it was like, I mean, they're really good. Like, why would you split them up? But in the long run, it definitely makes sense. It benefits both of their games. Miles Turner for sure, one of the best all around centers in the NBA.
Yeah, my number 8 is Miles Turner. One of the big things, and we mentioned his ability to stretch the floor, but he actually 37% from 3 this last season on 4 attempts a game.
4 attempts is not nothing to scoff at.
Man, that's impressive out of a big guy who's so great defensively. And as much as he's great at blocking shots, he's just as good as switching on to guards.
Mm-hmm.
He can do that just as well as he blocks shots. This guy is like, to me, as he's been doing this, he's building the prototype of like, if you aren't freakishly athletic and super tall,
Right.
I can see he is freakishly
Yeah,
athletic.
and he is freaking tall. He's
But not like
7'.
NBA tall.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
And you can't dominate the game that way. Here's a way you can do it as a big man who's fast and athletic.
And like Miles Turner also is a guy who hasn't been on our list the past couple years.
Yeah.
And it's just like really starting to open up like, wow, like he is really like, and not only is he a good shot blocker, I mean, he's like, I'm going to average 3 blocks a game every year type shot blocker.
Yeah,
Like
I think he averaged like 2.4 this year.
yeah,
or
like
something ridiculous.
he's averaged 3 multiple seasons too. Like he for sure is. My number 8 is Jarrett Allen. All the same things that you said about Jarrett Allen. I could see the budget Rudy Gobert thing. I think he's definitely a better offensive player than Rudy Gobert is. At least I think he dunks the ball better. He finishes at the hoop better. With being with Evan Mobley definitely is a interesting situation. I think we could see Jarrett Allen a part of a different team in the near future. I think everyone kind of envisions Evan Mobley as a center long term, but I still do love Jarrett Allen's game. A phenomenal, like, nobody wants to block dunks more than Jarrett Allen. And
Facts.
that's what I love about him. Like, these other guys are great blockers, but when it comes to dunks, he do not care if he gets thrown on a poster because he wants to block that shot. And he does a good amount of the time.
Has John Morant ever tried dunking over Jarrett Allen?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
That'd be a great one to watch.
That
I'd
would
love
be.
to watch
I'd love for him to go at it.
5 dunk series between those two.
Meet me at the rim.
Yeah,
5.
yeah, five-
Best
five
of
goals.
5.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome. My
Number
number
7.
My number 7 is Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert is great. I think this is where he fits. Even like this is me. Even if I'm taking into account Rudy Gobert's situation for the past couple years, I don't think he's been utilized properly as a big man. If I'm building a squad around Rudy Gobert, I'm building it with incredibly fast perimeter defenders. Joe Ingles isn't seeing the floor. Okay, Karl Anthony Towns isn't expected to guard guys out on the perimeter, and then we have to cover up for that guy. No, Rudy Gobert needs to be the cover-up guy for great perimeter defenders who can get in guys' shorts and fly around. Rudy Gobert hasn't been able to live in that situation. Mike Conley was his point guard last year, and D'Angelo Russell. Are those guys great defenders? Not at all. Like, not even a little bit.
No.
Anthony
And they went and got
Edwards,
Mike Conley, like, because he had the connection.
They needed
he was the
him.
only guy that knew how to pass to Gobert.
That is true.
You know that pass that Mike Conley made? You ever see that clip where he, like, went up for the floater and then, like, dished it? Like, it was this past season. Like, he, like, went up for, like, the layup and did, like, a finger roll, like, switched it to a pass. I'll have to show it to you.
It's
an insane pass.
Does he do like the LeBron Wade thing?
Kinda.
For a dunk?
Like, kinda, but he goes up for, like, the finger roll and then somehow, like, dishes it off like that. Like, I don't know how he did it. I just had a
We'll have to watch
basketball
it.
to display it if you're watching on YouTube. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you about the perimeter defender thing.
Yeah, and that to me is when we're going to see Gobert at his best, and that's where I've got him rated as This is what Gobert should be to me. He hasn't been utilized. I think 10's a fair spot with the way that the positions he's been put in, the way his teams have performed. I think 10's extremely fair. But to me, Rudy Gobert is worth more than a couple of those other guys.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. My question is, with the way Utah utilized him, I think Utah looked at it in the offensive perspective. Because with the way you're describing it, which once again I agree with, like I think having elite perimeter defenders is the move. More likely than not, when you have elite perimeter defenders, multiple of them, and you're also paying Rudy Gobert money, those guys can't play offense.
It's a good
So
point.
then what does your offense look like?
It's a good point.
You know,
a
that's
good
that's
point.
kind of, so. But I think what Quinn Snyder in Utah did was, and I think honestly that offensively was smart because we need to get the most shooters as possible around Rudy Gobert and shoot the most threes ever and just spam pick and roll
Force
with
guys to
Donovan
shoot threes
Mitchell
and force teams
and
to
Mike
beat us.
Conley and kick it out to Bogdanovich and Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson. You know, and I mean, they always had one of the top offenses in the league, and they always had one of the top defenses in the league because they didn't have good perimeter defenders, so they would just send them into Rudy Gobert, and that's why he won all them depoys. So I definitely agree with you. I just think that it's hard to use Rudy Gobert ideally in general because
To
you have
properly
to go
win,
offense
yes.
and defense. You know,
Facts, because let's build. I mean, you couldn't even. I don't think we could build a realistic lineup.
a
around
realistic
him.
5-man lineup to build around Rudy Gobert, and let's try to do the math like with money too, like that. What you
Can
could
we-
actually build too.
Can we stick Jared Vanderbilt at the 4?
Yeah, they also had Jared Vanderbilt.
I think he'd be perfect. Though.
Yeah,
Like,
probably. But
you
it
talk
comes
about
up-
fly around.
But what about the spacing though? I mean, Vanderbilt kind of shoots.
Okay.
It's tough. Like, okay, just Jaden McDaniels, have him be your
Yeah,
4.
facts.
I
Jaden
mean,
McDaniels, perfect.
he's the 3 of the Timberwolves right now, so just put him at the 4.
Now to me, you need a really good.
OG Anunoby potentially.
Yep, at the 3. But now you need elite guard play.
You need an elite guard. You have Anthony Edwards. I mean, let's just keep Anthony Edwards there, right?
Yep. And Tyrese Halliburton.
Is that you can't go get Tyrese Halliburton with all those other guys though, right?
You don't have to pay Rudy Gobert that much, right?
I mean,
can
you
we
do.
Can we take
I
away
mean,
his
what I was
contract?
looking at was like the Timberwolves if they could just like go make 2K trades for these guys. you
Okay,
know?
yeah.
Like that's kind of how.
So
I'm
OG
looking at it.
Anunoby would be perfect. And then who plays the 1?
It's
Who's
got to be. I mean, like I like Tyrese Halliburton for sure, but it just has to be a defensive guard that can also play make, like a Tyus Jones. You know, he's
I feel
not
like
like
that team is not. I feel like we can put more good players on that
but
roster.
it's better than the current Minnesota team. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have Cat, I guess, so I don't know. Maybe
That's what I
they're
mean.
not.
Like we're minusing Cat. We should add
You're
somebody
right.
in
You're
to
right.
his
You're
level.
right. That's a good point. Maybe you get like OG and somebody.
What about
from
like
the-
Fox? I know it's crazy. It's like it's
No,
not.
I
It's
get what you're saying,
impossible.
though, yeah. Fox and Gobert, yeah.
Because
I
then you don't have to
know.
worry about running the half court near as much. Half court offense with Ant and De'Aaron Fox.
See, but I think what makes Fox so good is how Sabonis offensively is able to like work with him.
Yeah, yeah,
And
you-
Gobert can't do that.
Yeah, no,
it's
no,
hard.
no
That's
question.
what, see what we're saying.
That's
like,
why I'm
it's
saying
so hard to
we're
build
pushing the
Rudy
ball
Gobert.
7 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Hoping that Rudy Gobert doesn't even make it down the floor.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have to use him on
That's
offense.
a good point.
So,
you need to become a GM and try to figure out how to use Rudy Gobert.
that might be what I do tonight. 2K. Might be a 2K night.
Let me make the best team around Gobert. Where did we leave off at?
That was my number 7.
Okay.
No, that was awesome. We haven't had a Rudy Gobert talk ever.
No, we really haven't, and that's a good talk because like we can't just sit here and talk about how like the Timberwolves need to trade Rudy Gobert if they want to do anything. They can't, dude. Like they have to have. Oh, they need to trade Karl Anthony Towns. Who is trading for him? You know, like this isn't like a. We need to actually talk about what they're gonna do.
For sure.
I still actually think the Timberwolves are gonna be like. I'm buying in again.
Dude,
this year.
no,
Not like to
no.
the level that I did. Like they're like a playoff team. Maybe make the second round playoff
Mm-hmm.
team this year. Because of the jump that Ant, and also Cat was injured for like
And Ant's cold.
Yeah.
Like Ant's disgusting.
exactly, and Cat was hurt for like half the season at least last year.
Cat doesn't help them though.
Like they had Cat and Gobert as their bigs, and the bigs that played the most minutes last year was Naz Reid and Taurean Prince.
That's insane.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's just I don't know if that's actually true, but
But dude, when they played together, they were bad. Like
I know.
it wasn't. I think I would rather have Taurean Prince at the 4 than Cat at the 4, and like have both of them together. And then
Really?
I'd sub Cat for Rudy Gobert and never play them together because like it doesn't. They are too damn slow
they
to
are.
play
I
in the
agree.
NBA.
I
Like
agree.
they should
But
never.
saying you're taking Taurean Prince over Cat is pretty wild.
And I'm thinking of it in defensive terms, not in offensive.
Yeah.
Not none what's obviously like offensively. Cat
Yeah.
it makes them miles better
For sure.
offensively.
I agree. Okay. My number 7 is Kristaps Porzingis of the Boston Celtics now. Wow, am I excited to see Kristaps Porzingis as a part of the
It's your
Celtics.
number 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that obviously Porzingis probably isn't going to be center. I'm excited to see who starts. Like, does Robert Williams come off the bench? I think him and KP can play together, but like Horford has been such a utility man for this Celtics team. I feel like it'd be hard for them to bench him unless he really starts to show signs of regression. But I do think Porzingis and Rob Williams for sure could play together. Porzingis hasn't played next to a center like an absurd amount in the past few years. Obviously, like Daniel Gafford a little bit in Washington. But we all know Porzingis is a more of a perimeter offensive player anyways. And I just think that he had one of the more underrated seasons last season. I mean, he could have been an all-star last. He honestly, like, maybe was one of the bigger snubs from the all-star game because he was playing in Washington. Oh, he's my number 7.
Kristaps Porzingis is my number 6, and he was elite last year. I think the Celtics team, it was one of the best ads you could go out and get because Kristaps isn't. He's a poor defender, but he's not.
He can still block shots.
He's not
as long as you can block.
He's not
shots,
a detriment to his team defensively.
Especially when you look at that Celtics team. You know?
Exactly. They fly around, they make plays, and I love the idea. Like, to me, the perfect Celtic situations, to me, putting on my coaching hat, I'm starting Al Horford, and I'm playing Rob Williams for extremely long stretches. I'm pulling Horford 4 minutes in. I want him to start my game.
Right.
I want him to get us into a rhythm, and then I want to put Rob Williams in. I want to go to work defensively. I want to be a monster. Al Horford probably finishes my quarters and finishes games, depending on what Rob Williams is doing. But I think that team now with their flexibility in their front court and their incredible flexibility in their backcourt between what Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can actually do.
Right.
Their flexibility is unreal with this team. They match up well against everybody. There's not a team that you're sitting there going, man, these guys just don't match up well. No. They match up fine against every team in the league, and offensively, they got better with Kristaps Porzingis.
And think about last year. I mean, because Rob Williams was hurt for a good amount of the year. Horford wasn't really hurt. I actually don't think he was hurt at all last year, but he's old, so like he could get hurt. Porzingis obviously is an injury guy, but like last year, like they were running when Rob Williams is hurt. You got Luke Cornett as the backup center. You know, you got freaking Mike Muscala who they traded for. Like there was not a lot of options there. Backup wise for their big man spot. And now you add Porzingis into that group. Yes, you lost Marcus Smart, and I am interested to see what the playmaking is going to look like because I assume Derek White's going to start over Malcolm Brogdon.
I would guess.
And Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White aren't much of playmaking first guys. It's not like Marcus Smart was insane.
I think Brogdon's
either.
better than Smart is.
Probably, yeah. But still, I think that is worth the sacrifice to give those guys up to add to this front court.
For sure. You know where Al Horford went to high school?
Went to high school?
Yeah.
Was it somewhere in Michigan?
Yep.
Yeah, because I knew that John Horford went to Michigan, his little brother.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Where did he go to high school?
Grand Ledge.
Really? He did?
Yep. He came.
That's crazy.
I think he came like his junior year because he's from the Dominican Republic.
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
he came like his junior or senior year. Like, Coach Fletcher played against him.
Really?
Yeah, in
he
high
did.
school. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which, but when you think about it, that's only like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It
pretty.
just feels like Al Horford is so much older than Mr. Fletcher.
I know, doesn't it? But Al Horford aged quickly in the NBA. He was like old 3 years ago.
5 years ago, he was like washed. When he was on Philly
Yes.
and signed with Philly and was like terrible and then like got dumped to OKC. And they had to trade picks with him, and it was
Somehow
like
he's continued.
he's too old, and now he's like revived. Now that he's back in Boston, it's pretty funny.
It's awesome.
My number 6 is Al Horford. No, I'm kidding. My number 6 is Brook Lopez. I put Brook Lopez very high on this list, and this is a lot based on the season that Brook Lopez had. But we're talking about Miles Turner being this elite, like, this is the type of center that you want. Well, also, think about the type of center that you want with a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. There is not a more complimentary player in the NBA than Brook Lopez. I think that might be a hot take or whatever. Maybe I'm not looking around. But, like, he is the best complimentary player out there for a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because a few years back, before they got Brook Lopez, they didn't know how to play Giannis. Remember when Jason Kidd was the coach and they're like, we're playing Giannis at point guard? He was like, what?
He had like 10 assist games.
Yeah,
that year.
He was the point.
And
And
he
that
was
was
good at
back
it.
when like the positions actually like, if you're the point guard, you're the point guard. You
Yeah,
know,
facts.
like that actually made sense. But then they acquired Brook Lopez and obviously won a championship. But this year was an unreal year for Brook Lopez. Finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Excuse me. Obviously, that has a lot to do with Giannis and Drew Holiday being a good team defense in general. But Brook Lopez, one of the better rim protectors in the NBA, and he spaces the floor and like no other guy. I mean, Splash Mountain. He really does it all, and his float game is really good. He creates, honestly, pretty well for a big man. Like, Brook Lopez had such a phenomenal year last year. And I think that if he would have won the Defensive Player of the Year, a lot of people would obviously be ranking him higher just because of it's an award or whatever. It didn't change the season that he had last year, whether or not he won the award or not. You know, he was still elite defensively. So that's why I got him as my number 6.
I think those are totally fair topics to talk about. I guess I didn't even really think about how elite Brook Lopez really was last year defending the rim, which is something I've talked about this whole podcast with these guys. So that's a miss on me.
And shoots the 3.
And
Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
All-time leading scorer. Sorry to interrupt you again. Also, no dude has ever changed their career like Brook Lopez has.
There's never been a guy to ever... I mean, his game is just totally morphed.
It is literally completely changed. Like, he was a post player, mid-range shooter, like, offensive
back you
big
down,
man.
gonna dunk on you
Wasn't
a little
this
bit.
crazy defensive big man. Like, and then,
Remember when
but
he
he
had the
was
fro?
really good at
And
that,
he had the
though.
fro.
Yeah, it's not like he sucked either. Like, he was
Averaged
damn
24
good
a
at
game.
that. All-time leading scorer for the Nets, and then he's been a part of the two eras, obviously, and he adjusted very, very well, and now he's great.
Yeah, he moved extremely fluid. I mean, because when he came into the league, it was a back you down league. It was Al Jefferson was still a beast. Al Jefferson and Brook Lopez are like the staples of that era.
Yeah, for real, they really are.
But Al Jefferson didn't adjust, and look at Brook Lopez. Here he is. That's
Al
awesome.
Jefferson's a little bit older too, but
No. Yeah, I don't know.
no, yeah, never mind.
Number 5 is my late night cast, baby.
Yep, gonna redo that one.
My number 5 is Bam Adebayo.
Ooh, okay.
Bam out of Goat Yo. Out of the Beast. Bam Bam. I mean, the names go on and on. He's a beast. I don't know if people have realized, I love defense.
I think you've made that clear.
I love defense. I love a guy who can play it really well. There's not a guy on this list who does it better than him. Yeah, not a guy. Maybe AD, but Bam's a monster, dude.
Definitely not. Don't disagree with that.
He's fast. He jumps high. He blocks shots. He guards. He averages 20 a game while doing it. If only we could see him like truly unleash that offensive game and like be the best show that you have the confidence and the gonads to go out and get it like that. Because we haven't seen it. Rarely have I seen Bam Adebayo just go and dominate on both ends of the floor. He's always good on offense.
Yeah.
He's great. He's just not going to take over the game and be the best offensive player of that game.
Yeah, for sure.
I love Bam Adebayo.
My number 5 is Domantas Sabonis. I have him one spot below Bam Adebayo. You talk a lot about defense from centers, and this is probably the most important defensive position. If you're not going to be a defensive center, you have to be elite offensively and more than one-dimensional offensively. And Domantas Sabonis does that. The dude doesn't shoot threes and can't play defense. A guy like that shouldn't, and he's not 7 foot tall either. A guy like that should not survive as a center, and he was all NBA third team this year. Like, he was phenomenal because of the way he runs an offense. I mean, he is an offense in himself. We talked about this, I can't remember, I think in the point guards list about Fox. Sabonis is the hub of the offense. Like, Fox obviously runs this, like, he's the main guy, but Sabonis is the one that creates everything.
I would consider him the initiator in that situation. 100%. He initiates everything.
The dribble handoffs that he is a part of and the roles, obviously. I would be really interested to see, though, a Kings-Nuggets series. Like, how do the Kings stop Jokic? You know, it's kind of like, can they score enough? Because the Kings' whole thing is like, we're just going to score a shit ton.
Yeah, we're just going to score more than you.
We're just going to score a lot of points, and defense is going to be, we're going to shoot more threes than you, and that's kind of our thing. And I respect teams that do that because they don't have a lot of defenders on that. I mean, they have the big wings in Murray and Barnes, but, like, they're now elite defenders by any means. But Sabonis, for sure, one of the best offensive centers in the league. Probably, like, I don't know. There's no need to rank it, but he's up there.
Yeah, he's right there. My number 4 is Domantas Sabonis. There was a time where we thought the center position was gone. It was like, oh shit, DeAndre Jordan's the best center in the league,
All-NBA.
and he really was. Like that year, he was first team All NBA. Wasn't no damn fluke. He was the best center in the league that year and doing nothing, shooting like 80% from the field on dunks. That has totally changed because of guys like Sabonis. We see a guy who can orchestrate an offense perfectly.
Perfectedly.
He can see over the defense. He can make every pass on the floor. He finishes around the hoop. If he gets it inside the three-point line, he's a threat. Those guys are incredibly tough to stop, especially when you surround them with the right pieces. And that's what this Kings team has done, and just surrounded them with this beautiful offense. Kevin Huerter was an absolute monster this year. De'Aaron Fox, incredible. Harrison Barnes, the same guy he was 10 years ago. He's the same guy. He's just as good as he was. He's an absolute beast. I can't think of who starts at the 3. Keegan Murray, yeah. And
First team all-rookie.
Davion Mitchell off the bench. I mean, this team is just loaded going forward, but it starts and ends with Sabonis. Didn't start with Fox. It changed when Sabonis got there, and he is unreal. Has changed the Kings culture. He's awesome.
What a phenomenal trade that was. I mean, we gave the Kings a lot of shit for it. And even, I mean, it's if they don't ever, like, win anything, and, like, so Halliburton goes on to be, like, this first-team All-NBA, like, MVP type dude, maybe then it still looks bad then. But, like, wow, what a really good trade made by both squads.
Yeah, me and you are going to look back. I think you and I will both look, even if that does happen, I will still look back at that and say, yeah, the Kings made the right move.
Yeah.
Their franchise.
It got them where they needed to make the playoffs. I mean, they hadn't in 20-some years.
At some point, you got to move the needle. You got to push it a little further than people think you can.
You have to respect a move like that.
Absolutely.
Sure. And maybe the Pacers never like go crazy with this core. Who knows?
Yeah.
My number 4 is Bam Adebayo. Same things that you said. He's a weapon defensively. He can guard 1 through 5. And that offensive game definitely can be great at times. So like you said, it's just when it's unleashed. Bam Adebayo, I think one of my favorite. I talk about this a lot with centers. Is that little push floater, not quite a layup, but it's not like a mid-range shot. Like Bam Adebayo is one of the best at that.
It's almost a baby hook.
Yeah, like it's just like a little, like it's just a little push shot. Like Brook Lopez is phenomenal at it. He's one of the best at it too. So is Bam. Like Bam, and so is Ayton. Ayton actually is really good at that too. I love the centers that like live in the mid-range.
Me too.
Bam is one of those guys. And they obviously went on a finals run this year, and that was a team effort thing. But Bam Adebayo was the anchor defensively for them, so he's my number 4.
My number 3 is Anthony Davis. He's back, baby. Played 56 games and was unbelievable this year on both ends of the floor. He's back.
Yeah.
And he's not the MVP we once thought he could be. But who knows? I mean,
I don't.
It's back to the sky is the limit for this guy.
If Anthony Davis plays 70 games, I don't see why he couldn't win the MVP.
I totally agree. He's that good, and he looked that good this year. It was awesome to see him make his return to greatness, and it looked like it for a second it wasn't going to be. Midway through the year, it
ranked lower
was
than Julius Randle.
Yes,
couple years back.
And then middle of this season, it was like the Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs. Oh, shit, we're going to make some awesome trades, and look at how good everybody looks now. That was awesome, by the way. One of the coolest trade deadlines I've ever seen.
For sure. My number 3 is also Anthony Davis. He finally is the center, too. There was all this talk always that he needs to play next to a center, which, there was. I think him next to JaVale, was a good, that was a good fit and everything. Even Dwight a little bit, too, was good. But AD as the center definitely is the play, especially when you have a guy like Jared Vanderbilt or like a Rui Hachimura to play next to him. It definitely just makes more sense team-wise. I honestly don't disagree if you have Anthony Davis ranked number 2. It's definitely you got to make some good points. But Anthony Davis does also not stay healthy, and it's very difficult for a guy like him to play 60 games in a year nowadays, and it sucks. But AD is still one of the best players in the NBA.
My number 2 is Joel Embiid. My number 1 is Jokic. Embiid won the MVP. Jokic won the finals, and Jokic been doing it better for 3 years now and did it better this year.
Yeah.
He just did. It was voter fatigue and bullshit. It's political ass bullshit.
Well, I don't know about that. I think Embiid deserved it. I mean, he won the scoring title, had won it 2 years in a row as a center, which doesn't get done very often, at least in the modern, after Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem. My number 2 is Joel Embiid. Number 1 is Nikola Jokic. It was never a doubt that Nikola Jokic was going to be number 1, even before he won the finals. We had him ranked above Embiid the last couple years. A lot of people switched it and everything. I still have always been in the Jokic over Embiid camp, and I think most everyone in the world agrees with that now. Ranking Embiid in top 10 players, though, is going to be tough. He definitely makes a jump, because I think I had him at 8 last year. He's for sure top 5 probably. Maybe borderline if you don't want to put him there. I could see it. He might not be top 5. I don't know. But, I just wonder where does he fall into that,
I wonder where, we have this debate every time Steph Curry does anything.
I know where he's at.
Where?
Where Steph's excited. At in my top 10 players.
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay.
No, not even that. Where is Nikola Jokic in centers all time?
We did our top 10 centers. Remember we did that
all
right
time
after they won it. Yeah, remember right after they won the championship, we did it.
Oh,
and
damn.
we both had him ranked above Bill Russell, I think.
Yeah.
Which I didn't post that because I was just that's just gonna get a little too much. That's just gonna get a little too much recency bias type.
People think we're gonna be,
and I'm not disrespecting Bill Russell, but Jokic is better at basketball.
I was gonna say, I haven't changed my opinion.
Yeah, same. I haven't either. Okay, we're at the point where we're doing trivia, so if you don't like trivia, leave. But I feel why wouldn't you like trivia? It's probably the most funnest part.
It's just me and him bullshitting up here, thinking
about
things. So
I did bring 2 trivias to the table, because I did one. I thought of one that'd be cooler. So
I brought 1.
So I'll go first.
Yep.
Like I said, I always do these. How far are we into this, by the way?
Hour 17.
Wow, man, we've been just going for a while, man.
We've been having fun.
Okay, I've been doing the trivia's based on the positional rankings.
Yeah.
And I skipped last week because it was boring, but the centers is way more fun, so I'm doing it. Can you tell me the top 10 most blocks in the last 10 NBA seasons?
Whoa.
Yes.
You really flipped. Before it was top 10 in blocks for the season last year.
No, last 10 seasons blocks leaders
in
the NBA. And I'll give you a quick hint before you even start this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these guys are active. There's only one non-active guy.
Gotcha. The non-active guy is the guy I want to guess first.
No.
Because I think I know
okay,
it
go ahead.
that. Is it Dwight Howard?
No.
Shit.
Dwight Howard is not in the top 10. I did take a screenshot, though, so I'd love to see where Dwight Howard is at. But
he's got to be close.
You start off with a strike one. Dwight Howard is number 10. Dwight Howard is 17th.
This is the last 10 seasons?
Last 10 NBA
So not since 2010. Okay.
Not since 2010.
So since 2013.
2014.
Let's go with Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert's number 1.
Awesome. They're all centers. No. Are they all centers?
Yeah, there's a couple that are
Tweeners.
One of them actually probably for sure is a power forward, but he's known for getting blocks. And then there's one that's kind of, and the rest are definitely all centers.
My issue is I don't know whether to go the defensive center route or the good center for 10 years route.
Right. Okay, so if you're going, I'll give you a quick hint there. Good center for 10 years route, there's like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh my
A
god.
lot of the guys
dude.
too, like I said, 9 out of 10 are active. Like a good 5 out of the 9 are like
Prime.
washed.
Oh my god.
Like
Sandal.
not getting. But think about it though, it makes sense because centers.
Yeah,
like,
they've been here for 10 years.
well, they also like if you're a shot blocking center, you probably can't shoot, and them guys don't play a lot in the NBA anymore.
oh, I hate
I mean, it's
this
not like
one,
a
dude.
bad list.
No,
Like,
I didn't.
It's not hard.
No.
You've only guessed 2 people.
Yeah. But like, there's a guy.
Okay, let me just give you a quick hint here. 3 of the dudes are on the list that we just did.
Really? So like
Yeah.
Anthony Davis
AD's number 2.
didn't even. I would never even guessed him. No. I'm
Why
kidding.
not?
No, I would have. Is Giannis on here?
Giannis is number 9.
Okay,
Yes,
yep.
he's the only guy that is not a center. And he's definitely the best player on this list. Obviously, actually, there's one other guy that is not a center too.
Can we make it? Is Serge Ibaka a center?
Serge Ibaka's number 8.
Okay, because that's where I was stuck on when we were talking and doing all the hints. It was like, is Serge Ibaka?
I would
His
say
name
he's
is
not.
Ibaka.
Yeah,
like he's
Serge
gotta be.
Ibaka, like that. Like he's gonna be on here.
He's gotta be.
Yeah.
You know who's just stuck in my head? I'm not gonna guess him, but Al Horford. is
Yeah,
just
he's
stuck
not.
there.
Yeah, definitely
Because
not.
why wouldn't he be?
And Serge is still active, by the way. He's not but he's like one of the washed guys.
Yeah. So I've got 4 guys.
4 guys out of 10. Yes.
Guess one wrong. I'm trying to think. Am I missing any depoys? I don't think I am.
You are missing 1 depoy. But you might like not knowing this guy won a depoy. Did this guy win a depoy? I think he did.
Is he current?
Yes.
Okay.
Washed,
So not the
though.
guy I was thinking. I was thinking Tyson Chandler, but
Yeah, no.
Man, just is. How many guys are good right now
Okay.
on that list?
1, 2, 3.
And are
Good NBA players, like starters. And then one of them is a good backup, like plays.
Okay,
the other
wait.
one doesn't. Sorry, keep
You're
going.
sending a lot of info
Yeah,
at
yeah.
me. Embiid,
Embiid is not on here. Embiid does not make the list.
Brooke Lopez.
Brooke Lopez is number 3.
Yeah.
Still have one guy that's
Giannis and Brooke Lopez. Oh, Giannis was number 9.
Yeah.
Not number 2. AD was number 2.
Yep.
You're
You're still missing one guy that was on the top 10 centers list, and you're missing a guy that was on the honorable mentions list as well.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking. I just don't even know if he's been a Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo is not on the list.
Okay, screw the
but I'll
strikes.
let you keep going.
Screw the strikes.
I'm not even going to include that guess.
That wasn't even there.
Every guy on this list has been around.
Oh, Miles Turner.
Miles Turner's number 5.
That was so dumb. I mean, like we were literally in the
Just talking
podcast talking
gets
about how he
every
three
season. Yeah. So you're missing number 4, number 6, number 7, and number 10. Number 4 is the non-active guy. The non-active guy is hard because he had like about a 4-season prime, and that's it. But in them 4 seasons, dude was blocking everything.
Oh, it's Hassan Whiteside.
Hassan Whiteside is
Yeah,
number
yeah,
4. Yes. I'm happy you got that one. I thought
Yeah.
that you might forget about Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah, he was like,
Hassan Whiteside went through a stretch where, I mean, he was literally blocking everything.
there was a
Did
moment.
he have a triple-double with blocks?
Yeah, I think so. Wasn't there a moment where Hassan Whiteside was the number 1 center in the NBA?
No, that's too far.
It was Boogie. Boogie was the number 1 at
Yeah.
that time. But Hassan was like right there.
He was in the top for sure.
like that after
Miami
that
Heat,
first year in
Hassan
Miami.
Whiteside, yeah.
It was like, wait a second, they might have him.
By the way, Hassan Whiteside, a great hoops grid dude, because he played for like 6 different teams at the
Gotcha.
end of his career.
So one guy's a backup. I'm not even gonna try to get that.
There's one guy close to home on the list.
Like I just don't even believe it. I don't even believe it. There's no way. How close? Like 7 years close?
Wait, what?
Like how long was he close to home?
Yeah, a good 7 years.
Like Andre Drummond?
Andre Drummond is number 7. I mean, Andre Drummond got blocks in Detroit, man. Like
Yeah, he
really
never left
did.
the paint.
Yeah, exactly.
know
Like
he
yeah.
did.
He got a block and then threw the rebound off the rim to himself 5 times. All right, you're
Isn't
missing.
it funny how much we hated Andre Drummond? Like
I still like Drummond.
I
Like,
hated
he's
him.
cool.
I was the first guy
He was always cool
in the
though.
world.
He still loved
No,
Detroit.
no,
everything.
and I don't mean it in that way. As a basketball fan, I hated
like
Andre
he was
Drummond.
like one of the most fraudulent All Stars
Ever.
in recent history. Yeah. You're
uh,
missing number 6 and number 10, both in the NBA. One is good, one is not. Doesn't play.
One is good. Who's the good one? Who is the
I mean, he's
good-
not like an all-star.
like Rob Williams.
Not Rob
No.
Williams.
I don't know if I'm going to get it off the top of my head.
Yeah. Do you want me to just tell
Yeah.
you? Okay, so number 10 is Clint Capella.
I was thinking him, but is he the Walsh guy?
No, he's the
Okay.
good guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Number 6, DeAndre Jordan. I
I
believe he
mentioned
won
him.
a depoy.
I don't think he did.
I think he did.
He might have.
I don't know.
He very well could
He
have.
definitely. I'm gonna look it up.
Yep,
now
we
'cause I
might as
can't
well.
remember, but yeah, that was the top 10 centers or top 10 blocks of the last 10 years. Go ahead and describe your trivia.
Last week, if you didn't watch, I had come up with my best trivia idea I'd ever
Dude,
had.
that trivia, by the way, that was so much fun. Like, I loved that one.
I'm glad because
Okay, one
you're
sec.
getting one very similar.
One sec, I got it pulled up right here. DeAndre Jordan did not win a Defense Player of the Year, so I was
Who won it the years he would have won it?
like Draymond,
Draymond.
Kawhi won back to back, Joakim Noah, Marc Gasol.
Who? Joakim
about
Noah.
it.
That's
Like-
a name I don't remember
Yeah.
often enough.
Okay, sorry.
I have for you. I didn't do the top 10 because the top 10 was goofy. I did the top 9 rushing leaders in the NFC North since 2010.
Okay,
Uh,
running it back.
yeah, there's one guy on here who's not a running back.
Okay, that's a good hint.
Everybody else is running back.
Top 9. So why? Who was number 10? Like,
I
do
don't
you
remember, but
Somebody
it
random.
was like a name I had never heard. So
Okay, it makes sense.
I want to say James or something.
Yeah.
Starks.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Me either.
Aaron Jones, my first guess.
Aaron Jones is number 4 on the
Okay.
list.
Dalvin Cook.
Number 3.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of like the current guys that ran the ball. Like, ooh, actually,
Oh, I'll tell you yardage, by the way. Dalvin Cook has 6,000. Aaron Jones has 5,200.
I'm thinking about guessing Montgomery, but like, I don't think I'm gonna yet. I don't think I'm gonna yet. Okay, let's get the Lions out of the way. If there might not be a Lion on here, Jamal Williams has a chance, but like he was a backup in Green Bay, so like, I actually don't think there's gonna be a Lion on this list. Like there might be. Like the way you look at me, like makes me think there is. But I'll figure it out later.
Try not to like give you the face.
Yeah, I know, obviously. Okay. Matt Forte, is he on here?
He's number 2
Okay.
with 6,400. So that's kind of the level of running back you're dealing with.
Right.
Think about that.
Oh yeah.
He's number
I know.
2.
Yeah. Number 1. Is Eddie Lacy on here?
Yeah, he's number 7.
Okay.
With
Okay.
3,400 yards. So not that much.
Not that much. So that makes me think that there is going to be a Lion on here. Now that you speak that into existence. Okay, David Montgomery's on here then.
He's number 6.
Okay, yeah. That definitely helps me out. Oh, I
With
have
3,600
I have
yards.
a good guess, but he's a Bear. Just because I'm a Michigan State guy, is Jeremy Langford on here?
No.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
One strike.
That was bad.
You right now you are missing number 1, number 5, number 8, and number 9.
Why am I missing number 1?
I don't know.
Wait, is Adrian Peterson number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I just wasn't really thinking about that.
Yeah, 7,867
Yeah,
yards.
definitely. Like, I don't know why I wasn't
by
thinking about
far the
Adrian
best running
Peterson.
back.
He even played for the Lions, too. So, like,
Yeah, Lions
throwing
guy.
them yards, too.
Lions guy.
Lions legend, Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
Okay, what am I missing?
Number 5, number 8, number 9. Number 9, by the way, is the non-running back.
Okay, so like since there's one non-running back, there's a world where it's actually Justin Fields already. How many yards does the last dude that I've got?
Eddie Lacy has 3,400 yards. He's number 7.
Okay. And like would you say the difference between 3,400 and number 9 is like quite substantial or no?
No.
Okay,
It's not. It's not like crazy.
It's not Justin Fields. There's no.
It's
no,
not Justin
Yeah,
Fields.
it's not.
It's
like
not.
it's definitely not. This is like a stupid guess, but like he played in the NFC North since 2010 to this year. Is it Aaron Rodgers?
He's number 9.
Oh, it is. Wow. Okay.
With 2,896 rushing yards.
Okay. I had to really.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I had to think about that one.
That's why I went to 9.
Yeah.
Number 10 had like 2,400.
Right,
and I was
okay.
like, we're done. We're done.
Okay, so we're at the point where I haven't even guessed a Lions player yet. So like,
I would disagree. David Montgomery is a Lion. So is Adrian Peterson.
Okay, you're right. You're right. So like, I feel like I have to guess a Lion, but I'm just trying to think of what are the two that I'm missing?
Number 8 and number 5.
Number 8 and number 5. Swift might be on here, but like, he never ran for 1,000 yards yet.
How many years did he play in Detroit?
4. I'm gonna guess Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams is number 5. What a good guess.
Okay.
What a good guess.
Obviously Green Bay, but he was a backup. But the Lions last year running for 1,000 definitely got him into this list. Okay, so I'm missing number 8.
Yep, one spot.
I have 2 guesses to get it.
Yep, his 3,300 yards.
I don't think there's another Packer because Lacey, Jones, Jamal Williams. Don't think there's going to be another Packer. Vikings, though, I've only gotten Dalvin Cook.
Adrian Peterson.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I got Adrian Peterson, too.
And he was there for a while.
Yeah, and then Dalvin Cook took over right after. And Madison, there's no way he got that many. Bears.
Now, this is one you've only guessed one, which is Matt
No, I got
Forte.
2. I got Forte and Montgomery.
I guess. Yeah, Montgomery.
What do you mean I guess? Montgomery's never played for the Lions.
He's
yet.
a Lion.
Okay, but like
It's on
he
the
spent
contract.
His first 5 years.
It's signed.
So, but they have had a couple random running backs like in there, but it might. Is it DeAndre Swift?
No. 2 strikes. I'll give you a hint. This guy is current, but not currently in the NFC North.
Okay, I like that. Current, not currently in the NFC North. Okay, because I was thinking about guessing Reggie Bush. Like, thank God I didn't. Or I was gonna pull the frickin' Joik Bell out, or the Javid Best.
No.
Like, I was about to go deep.
You were about to
Lions
just
back.
go way too
Yeah,
deep.
like I almost said LeGarrette Blount. Okay.
Garrett Blunt's crazy.
Current, but not in. Do you know if AFC or NFC?
I don't know what team.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's so sad.
Current, but not in the NFC North. What team could? A name that's coming to my brain is Latavius Murray because he was a Viking for a couple years. But he wasn't there very long, so it makes me think it's not him. I don't want to guess him yet. I want to think if there's any other guys, like Bears guys.
I think this guy's been in the league for about 7 years.
Okay.
8 years.
So he's getting on the older end
Yeah.
for a running back.
Yeah. Definitely don't get as many reps as he used to. That's for damn sure. He's like a backup running back.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I figured. If it's a Lion, like I'm actually gonna like.
It's
is
not
it
a Lion.
okay? I would say
It's not a
I'm gonna
Lion.
like be pretty disappointed.
It's not
if
a
I don't
Lion.
get it, and I didn't think so. So the fact that the Lions actually have 0 on here is pretty crazy.
Pretty sad.
And I like made fun of the Bears for having 1 wide receiver last time, so like bad look. Oh man, about 7 years. I think that takes out Latavius Murray for me. I mean, it could be him, I guess, but like I can't think of a Bear.
3,300 yards.
3,300 yards. I gotta make a guess here. Actually, AJ Dillon wouldn't have been a bad guess, but obviously it's not him. Okay. I don't think it's right, but I'll guess Latavius Murray.
It's incorrect. That's your 3rd strike.
Yep.
I'm going to give you one last thing. He played 3 years for the Bears before David Montgomery
3
came.
years for the Oh, it's is it Jordan Howard?
It is Jordan Howard.
Yeah,
With 3,300
yeah.
yards.
Should have got Jordan Howard.
Yeah. He was a good player.
I always forget about the in between because like I always think Jeremy Langford was that guy, but he only was for like a year or 2, and then Jordan Howard obviously.
Gotcha.
Was, so
Gotcha.
tough that I
Fun
didn't get him.
list.
Yeah, definitely.
You did
very
awesome.
fun
I mean,
list.
you knocked the majority of them out. I would have really struggled to guess Jamal Williams
Yeah.
because, like, again, backup and then 1 year.
But once you said like it was only like 3,000 something yards, like okay, he got 1,000 last year. Like he definitely tallied up 2,000 over his years in Green Bay.
For sure.
Okay, my last trivia, and then we can get out of here. Can you name me the top 10 quarterbacks with the most rushing touchdowns in the last 5 NFL seasons?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I
And
can.
this list actually has 12 because there's 3 dudes tied for 10th place. So you're basically naming the top 12.
Gotcha. So, rushing touchdowns.
And it's only the last 5 seasons. We're not going too far back here.
So, Lamar,
Lamar is number 3. Can I have that?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is number 1, and he is number 1. He has 38, and number 2 has 26.
Mahomes.
Mahomes is tied for 10th with 12.
Wow.
I mean, Mahomes don't be running them in. He throwing them in.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
But he's on there.
But he rushes a lot. Like for a throwing QB, he rushes quite a bit. Jalen Hurts.
Hurts is number 2 in only
What?
2.5 seasons. He also had like 13 or 14 last year.
It's ridiculous.
Maybe he had 16. Like he had a crap ton last year.
Last 5 years, it's too early.
You have one non-active guy on this list.
Gotcha. Is I always get is Herbert?
Herbert is not.
That's a bad guess.
Yeah.
That was a silly guess.
Herbert is not on here.
Last 5 years makes Deshaun Watson a really hard guess. Because if it wasn't for like what's going on in his life, he's up here. I'm gonna save him.
Just do it.
Okay, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson is number 8.
Okay, I didn't expect him to be on the list. This guy always be running them in. I hate watching him do it. And it's Ryan Tannehill.
He's number 6. 20 rushing touchdowns.
Oh, I hate that guy.
That's a definition that he just gets him on the 1 yard line.
Oh,
So many freaking times.
he is so.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray's number 4.
So how many am I missing there?
You're
now?
missing number 5, number 7, number 9, and then the 2 dudes tied at 10.
And Patrick Mahomes has 12.
Yes.
I feel like I've watched him do it more than 12 times.
You haven't. I can tell you that.
No, not Mahomes. I'm talking about this guy that I'm thinking
I see. I was like,
you're questioning my stats.
no. Like, promise you, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. No. Okay.
Strike 2.
He always be running. He runs an occasional.
5 years, though. Like, he ain't got 12 in 5 years.
That's less than 3 a year.
Yeah, he gets like 1 max.
It feels like he'd be getting a lot more than that.
No.
He's Snake. You know what I mean? He's got the Ryan Tannehill Snake thing going on, where he snakes the.
Okay, you're
touchdown.
missing one dude that's like a notorious, like the non-active dude, like is the guy that just like a quarterback that gets rushing touchdowns. And then there's also a tricky one on here, like he's a quarterback.
Oh, it's Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's number 7.
I love the way you did that. Quarterback.
Yeah, he's number 7.
Guy that be running the ball a lot.
The other guys are just like, they're just guys.
Do you know who might be on here? No, last year was his rookie year. No, not gonna guess. Not gonna guess him.
Who are you gonna guess?
It was Fields.
Yeah, no.
He didn't get that many in
He
one
didn't
year.
get touchdowns.
And
He didn't score.
I don't know who this guy who was rushing him before. I'm trying to think of guys who are retired, who were QBs who ran them things.
I mean,
in.
but this guy's like last year was his first year not in the NFL. Like he's very recently out of the NFL. Obviously, it's the last 5 years. Like
very recently, like I don't.
you will know once I tell you.
It's
like,
not RG3.
No, I'm not.
It's
counting
way
that as a
longer
guess. Yeah.
ago. That's way too long ago. Oh man, I don't know.
This
who
guy
that
was
is.
out of the league because he wasn't a starter.
Yeah,
Like he could be a backup in the NFL right now, but he like was unhappy with not being a starter. If that rings a bell,
that doesn't ring.
you
a
could
bell.
just not focus.
Yeah,
on
I'm
him
not
if you
gonna.
don't want.
I'm gonna avoid that.
So the other guys are all 3 active. One of them is definitely known as like a mobile QB. The other 2 are just like they just have scored rushing touchdowns.
Young, old. What are we looking at? The guy who's mobile.
Young. I would say the 2 of them are young. The one guy's like a medium, like middle aged.
I'm struggling with the current mobile QB.
And by young, I don't mean he's like in his 3rd year. Like he's like in his like 5th year probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't feel confident with any of my, and I'll spit out some names that I'm spitballing. Trevor Lawrence is in my head. Dak Prescott's in my head. Like Dak Prescott missed a year. I mean, basically misses every year. It feels like he misses at least 4 or 5 games. Trevor Lawrence ain't been in the league long enough to do it at the rate that he like does it at. I had another name in there too. Like Derek Carr doesn't do it. I'm thinking of other QBs. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is not on the list. That is 3 strikes.
I'm okay with that one being my 3rd strike.
Dak Prescott was number 9, by the way.
Oh,
He
man.
was number 9. The 2 dudes tied at number 10 were Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was the mobile QB.
Yeah.
And then number 5 is Cam Newton.
Oh,
He be rushing.
come
that man.
on.
Yeah. he be
Yeah, that's
rushing that.
bad.
Right.
I should have gotten Cam.
Yeah,
Newton.
like he be doing
But
that.
I was definitely a hater. Like it's
Are
like
you're a Cam hater?
I was like a post prime Cam hater.
Well, yeah, I think everyone was because he was pissed that he wasn't the starter when he wasn't good enough to be a starter.
I really start hating on dudes on their downfall. Like I will love you at your peak, but the moment you start falling off,
That's the worst
I
kind
think
of
you are
person.
so overrated.
I hate that.
Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, those guys are bad.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for listening. Go check us out. Bye.
Bye.